First thing is the proposed agenda. You see that in front of you, and then the consent agenda. Motion to approve. Motion to approve the consent agenda, seconded by Ann. Discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion carries. Next then is our non-action report, construction update.
Yeah. So projects are moving along, still good. We obviously are all classrooms at this point in time. And obviously, before we had our August board meeting, we weren't even in school yet. But we're in all of our classroom spaces, so our ag students are in their classroom space. We don't have the ag shop quite done yet. We're still waiting on metal for that. And then the family consumer science classrooms, all those are done. Starting to see more stuff come on board. We think for the next board meeting, we'll actually have the high school office done. High school may or not be moved in there at that time, but we think it'll at least be done at that point in time. And they've actually started work in the old ag shop, trying to get to the rest of the room. We had the beam work done this summer, but they've actually been in there, boxing in all the walls, getting those ready, boxing in all the beams. And so I think tomorrow we actually have somebody come to measure mats and get those things, and the floor and all those different pieces. So I'd say we're on track with everything. The only thing that we really got kind of behind on was performing arts, and it's looking like it's going to probably be January before we're into the performing arts. We were hopeful that Thanksgiving, Christmas, maybe get some Christmas concerts, but at this point I think we're scheduled to get our seats and stage curtains shortly thereafter Christmas. So it's probably going to have to be one of the last things they put in, but for those that are able to peek in there, it's really looking nice, and I think everybody's still excited about it. But we actually host a big, the MEC started the Fine Arts Festival a couple of years ago. We're actually hosting that. We think we'll be more than ready for that in March, so we're excited about our kids getting to host and show off our new facility. But things are still moving along. In fact, we've got a lot of cars over there every day, and we've had all new grass seed planted, and lights are coming on, so it's getting exciting. I'm just glad we're all back in the classrooms, at least doing that aspect at this point in time. So.
What about the plumbing on?
Plumbing is getting there. We've got cold water.
Start?
We have cold water in the bathrooms upstairs and to all our facts and science rooms, and we're waiting on the gas line to come up, and then we'll have hot water, which should be in another week or two. But we do have all the cold water working and all that. But yeah, it seems like it's baby steps. It seems, but unfortunately the staffing crisis that everybody is going through we are going through it as well, and plumbing has been one of those issues. We had 3 or 4 plumbers on the job, and we pretty much got one that is there full time. So that's slowed us down a little bit, but they are still making progress. Okay. Any questions?
Our school police officer.
Yeah.
We asked Johnny to join us tonight. Many of us hadn't met him yet, so Johnny, talk to us.
Okay. So this is my first school board meeting, I guess, as a school police officer. So I guess this is where I'm supposed to come. The protocols.
Front center.
You guys have to help me out, kind of walk me through this. Through this process, I guess. So yeah, I'm Johnny Palmer. You guys hired me a month or 2 ago to be your police officer there at school. Everything is going pretty well, as far as I know anyway. Everything seems to be going pretty well. One of the things that I've been super pleased about is the support that I have received from each and every administrator in every building. Without exception, if there's anything that I ask for or any questions, any assistance, I can go to any one of the administrators and feel very comfortable that they're going to give me support that I need to be successful at my job. Mr. Lanigan has been. Mr. Lanigan, I told some somebody the other day that he is such a presence in the high school now that when I see him walk down the hall, sometimes I go hide in the bathroom. And a fairly eventless, I guess, start of the year. A couple little hiccups. We've worked through most of those. I've had the opportunity while I was in these first few weeks to work with pretty close with the Cameron Police Department, the Juvenile Office, Children's Division. I've worked with the DeKalb County, Clinton County. I've done a little bit with the Missouri Highway Patrol. I'm in contact now with the Attorney General's office where there's a reporting system that is required for us to have, and I'm kind of getting some guidance from them to see kind of how to put that in place, just to make sure that we are meeting a requirement as a police department. So I guess that's really about it. You guys have any questions or something I'm leaving out maybe?
Welcome.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
That's easy.
All right, administrative reports. Dr. Mecker.
A couple things, maybe not want to steal anyone else's thunder, but I still feel the start of the school year has been really good. When you enter into the building, there's just kind of, a feeling of excitement, and so that's been really good. So we started with our professional development. Kansas City RPDC visited Parkview and CIS. Those ladies are actually working cooperatively with Northwest RPDC, and so they're combined efforts, so we're somewhat getting the best of both worlds this year. So that's been a good experience. Crystal Youngs started. She's our school social worker. Angie provided her with an office over there, and I think she's getting acclimated. She had a really good experience. She visited Higginsville School District, their social worker, and spent the day with her, and so came back with some great ideas, and so Isaac has already started, developing those plans and figuring out her system. So that has been a great thing that's happening as well. And then on the shelves of Officer Palmer, I spoke with Officer Asher today, Chief Asher, and he's very pleased and excited about, the way that this has been working. So we anticipated some growing pains, but Officer Palmer and the Cameron Police Department have done a really good job working together. So those are some good things that are happening. Any questions?
I appreciate your report, appreciate the data, and keep up charging forward.
Absolutely. Well, the data, like I said, Jesse is very particular about it. That growth status was supposed to be released along with our NPI. So that will now not be released until the spring. So we're still trying to get our bearings. The guidance form is still intact. So, but yeah.
Things are good. Remember, just to be clear again, the MSIP that Desi has yet to formally release
That's
is
the
still,
comprehensive guidance.
okay. That is still, those are still standards to which we will be held next spring, but it has yet to be released.
So those standards are pretty much in concrete. It's the calculation of how our calculations are going to be so based on the amount of students that we have scored advanced and proficient, so
And
how
those
they're
numbers-
going to calculate those NPI numbers. And so our status, is calculation of those NPI numbers. And then that growth is, look at those students where they're at in the third grade to establish whether or not they're growing in the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, whether or not they meet that target. That growth portion has been pulled out and it will not be shared in December. Instead, they're waiting until the spring to share that. So they're still making adjustments. As of today, we have windows of appeal. So when we look at our data, we say some things aren't right, that kiddo didn't test, but we have a level not determined, meaning that he thinks they test. So we have those levels or those windows of appeal. And Desi has kind of been manipulating been some data that hasn't been submitted, that Betsy wants to take a second look at and just be sure that everything is accurate. So, I mean, they're taking their time and they're being methodical about it, but it's just, you know, I get out still hurry up and looking, so. But no, as far as the standards and those indicators, those are concrete. But how we're going to be evaluated, that's the part that we're waiting on to become finalized. And surely, the last public meeting they had, I want to say it was September 7th, and so I would assume any day now we produce those documents. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Sir?
Pardon my horsey voice here. I've been battling allergies or kicking my tail, so sorry, Jimmy, if I'm not as clear or quiet as I normally am. I guess it can be loud. But we had 16 students earn all district choir. So very proud of those students. Mr. Carter shared that with the front office staff. We're celebrating FFA week this week. Students were driving, if you drove by the football field, they had their tractors down there this week, so they've had fun with the different activities. I know they had, I think it was FFA Ag Olympics tonight, or they had something tonight and tomorrow night, and I can't remember which one is which, but want to give a couple shout outs. Was notified towards the end of the day, Miss Sydney Lockridge was the recipient of a $50, I think, check or some sort of reward. But she had submitted an essay this summer to the John F. Tinker Foundation, and she was selected as one of the winners. So I called the Peggy, or I can't remember the gal's name that emailed me, but anyway, kudos to her and her essay. I read it, very well written, and very proud of her. Couple more shout outs to our counseling department. They are starting, just shared with me today, a drug-free superstar recipient. And essentially they're going to select one male, one female student at the end of the year. So they sent out a Google form with every male student's name, every female student's name, and teachers are to select 3. There'll be a committee, and we'll narrow it down to a winner. But just some things that she had sent me, and I don't want to get it wrong, so I'm going to kind of just read what the counseling department sent out. But we're starting a new scholarship here for our seniors. This will be highlighted during Red Ribbon Week, as it is focused on seniors who have chosen to live a drug-free lifestyle. So that's just kind of the ground zero with it, that wanted to acknowledge those kiddos and obviously offer a new scholarship. So, and then the last thing, and I don't want to throw Tanya under the bus, I guess in a good way, but she agreed to be, and I don't know if you went to the students or if the students went to you, but we are creating a mental health support group that we're going to utilize during Dragon Time, either on Mondays or Fridays. And again, this is ground zero. We're just getting the ball rolling, but I can show you, this was written by a group of 5 students, their proposal, so to speak, for the group and what the benefits of it. Wanting to kind of steer away from the counseling department, just be more student-led. A lot of times at the high school level, students are more interested, talking to their peers, and basically Tanya is there as a facilitator. So looking at doing that during Dragon Time, proud of these kids for recognizing that and bringing that to Mrs. Webb and myself, and obviously Mrs. O'Boyle. So a lot of good things going on at the high school. Very proud, as Dr. Mefford said, at the start of the school year. So very, very proud.
When that becomes real, would it be possible for us to get a copy of that proposal that was put together?
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
Fabulous.
They did. It was well written. I was very proud of them. And right now, it looks like 5 students that should say kids, young adults. So very proud of them.
I just want to let the board know and the staff know too that I've had, sometimes you hear from people in the community and sometimes you don't hear, I don't hear from them for a while, and then all of a sudden I have had more parents come to me randomly, wherever I am in the community, thanking us for the leadership of the cell phone policy. I have not had one complaint. Every one of them has said, thank you for taking an active role. So they're not complaining to me, they just, and it hasn't been one, it's been numerous.
Yeah.
So,
And Tanya, if you want to, I'm not trying to throw you, but she's come to me multiple times just with positives, like just things she's witnessed during her, classroom time or Dragon Time, just things you wouldn't have seen in past years.
Would it be possible, and Tanya, we're just all throwing you, but you shared a story.
I'm glad you're here.
You shared a story with me that I think is a story of kids communicating. You remember telling me that? Can you share that?
Yes.
spend the hour or whatever time in there in the library. And just even in that first week, like, there were some boys that had been in there and kind of had some time, and so they said, can we check our email? Yes, you could do that. And so we kind of got to goofing around and talking a little bit. Those exchanges between us would have not, between us for sure, and maybe between them would not have happened with their phones. We actually had a conversation. And then it might have even been in the same week. There were some students sitting in the back, and they were talking about some poetry, and the girl said, well, I have this book, a friend gave me, and she started reading it, and I came back a little bit later, and they were still reading. And so they were having an actual poetry read in the library. With my own eyes for quite a while. And I wanted to say, can I take your picture for my Instagram? But yeah, there's been a lot of interactions, and even in the Dragon times. I had a student tell me today, it's ridiculous that we can't have him, but he spent 20 minutes talking to me about
how ridiculous
what this was and things he's doing. And so I said, I have all those board games up front. You could be doing that. He said, well, I didn't know you had that. Maybe tomorrow I'll play banana. I said, okay. So yeah, it's been great. Even when they kind of fight it a little bit, they're looking up, they make eye contact. It's nice.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I want to mention one other thing. I had another mom, and the mental health group, I think that's a great idea. I had another high school student approach me and was very concerned about her child's mental health. And I had referred her back to the high school counseling staff and to the social worker and that kind of thing. So I think that's also going to fill a definite need.
Yes.
And encouraged her to come back to the staff and reach out to the administration.
Absolutely.
As well.
Yes.
How's the checking in and checking out process going? I mean, that was something.
The hall pass system.
Yes, the hall pass system.
It's working because less kids are it wasn't designed to be an inconvenience, but it's more just, we were trying to prevent we haven't had any bathroom issues. So in that response, yes, it's working. I think the typical kid who'd say, I need to go to the bathroom. Well, now that I have to sign out, check in, check out, I'm like, I don't have to go that bad. I'll just stay in class. So both aspects is working. So yeah, we've had zero any sort of bathroom thing so.
Does the process work well with the checking in, checking out? Does it take too much time? Or is it pretty slick?
I think at first it did,
Yeah.
but I think now the kids that go, and it's not just bathroom, it's if you need to go talk to Maggie or Lacey or Nicole or come down to Cassie, it's pretty efficient. So efficient that Mrs. Sedgwick reached out to me yesterday after we had an admin meeting and said, hey, can you talk to me about your guys' hall pass system? We're looking at maybe even doing this at our level. And they obviously could scale it down, but just the way that, you can look at, teachers can pull up the list, there's 5 kids out right now, just wait. So, just another accountability piece.
While you're there,
Yeah.
any questions on the activities report? You have that in front of you. Look at it. None? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right.
Been a great start so far at the middle school. I think we've got a lot of positive things going. Want to just reiterate, our teachers have done a fantastic job of building relationships with kids to start the year, and our students are reciprocating. I think that's something that's been more noticeable. Our teachers have brought that up. They feel that they're getting the students are following expectations better, but they're having better conversations with students, and I think that's awesome because that's where it all starts. It's relationships first, last, and always, and then the rest of those things will come. Want to give a shout out to Miss Agason's Leader in Me class. They already started to develop a fundraiser. They've got Child Cancer Awareness Month. They came to me with an idea that was well thought out, well planned. It was easy to say yes to. They've had some days to bring awareness, and we've been doing that all week long. And they got a fundraiser going, and I think that's great, Miss Axon. When you hire somebody, you want to hope that they make a sudden and immediate impact, and she most definitely has for our building. She was a great hire, but another piece of that is her Leader in Me classes. She has 2 of them, and she sent me the other day. The other day I was in visiting her in the morning, and her 2 classes had made mission statements, and they're up on the board. But one of the things that we're always talking about is getting 1% better every day. And on the mission statements, the kids had 1% better every day. And I said, did you ever prompt them all? She said, no, they were all fired up about it. They said 1% better every day has to be in there. So I thought that was awesome, and it just speaks to the fact that our kids are hearing what we're saying. Also, we had Jason and I had an idea to share our PD this month together on the 6th. And the first half of the day, we got together and our teachers presented. I presented, Dr. Medford presented, Mary, Tanya presented. We had a lot of people present in district just on different topics for our teachers to go to and visit and see. And we had awesome reviews from our staff. I mean, it was in the 90 percentile of just approval, and the teachers enjoyed it. We had just a ton of positive feedback. And there were, like I said, there were a variety of topics, and teachers could attend any session. We had one session that we required them each to go to, but then they had 3 other sessions they could choose from. They were well received, and it was great for teachers to, get out and see the things they want to see, not just what we felt they needed, because they know best what they need a lot of the time. So it was a good opportunity for them, and I thought they really did a great job with that. I wanted to bring up our positive referrals for teachers. One thing we started to track with our data this year that I don't think that we had tracked before is positive referrals. So our Leader and Me referral system, and then any positive contacts somewhere with students that was above and beyond like what happens in the classroom. We recorded 124 of those between the time school started until the first board meeting. So that was something big for us that I think is also just speaks to that relationship piece and why things seem to be going so well with our students. And another shout out to Mr. Colson. He had an adaptive PE lesson with one of our visually impaired students, and he reached out to Mary, and we got some resources. One of them was a ball that has a rattle in it, soccer ball. And so he turned it into a lesson for not just her, but for the other students in his class. And I thought that was great. Anytime you can include other students and make for a great experience, it warmed my heart. And I just thought it was awesome that he did that. I think she included it in her board report as well. I didn't have it in mind, but I wanted to mention it because I thought that spoke to his heart, but also it was a valuable lesson and a valuable teaching tool for the other kids in that class too. So. Good stuff going on, and very proud of our staff. It's just been a fantastic start so far.
Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate the positive contacts. Those are that's a nice app.
Thank you.
It's really good.
I've had a conversation with a parent who had a call from a teacher, a positive interaction, and that parent was over the moon.
Yeah, I called a parent. When we do our positive referrals, Mr. Hadley and I split them up so we both get to have some fun. So I had a parent that I called, and she was crying on the phone. It was good tears, and that's always a fun phone call. Like that's when you know that it makes them that happy, and it just creates a great opportunity to be in partnership with those parents, right? Because that's ideally what we need to be, and I think it's helped us out a lot. So, anything else?
Just a shout out to your morning Instagram. So if you want to lift,
Thank you.
just check that out. That's right.
Appreciate
You're the one that told me.
Appreciate it. I try every day.
I love it.
So thank you very much. It helps keep me focused, and I think it carries over in my day. So
Yeah.
thank you. Appreciate it. Ms. Cox.
I just have a couple of things I want to mention that were not included on my board report celebrations. And this is going back to the beginning of school, but I was able to get our teachers sign-in sheets from our open house. And of our 336 students, which might not have been that number at that time, we had 262 of those students attend our open house, so that's 78% attendance. It's pretty exciting, and that's not terribly unusual for an elementary school, but it was exciting, and there were a lot of people in and out of the building, multiple parents with them, so that was good exposure, good positive beginning back in August. I also want to note that last week we started our CIS tutoring program. That has already been an established program at CIS, and what they do is 6 weeks of ELA tutoring, 2 days a week, and then they switch that over to math, and those students are determined by the data the teachers have collected either from their math
scores, looking at those kids that could use a little boost to try to work up to the next level, or on their current classroom standings. So that is up and going strong already. We started that last week. I talked with the cafeteria, and they're providing us with a snack, and they can get a juice or milk after school. And of course, that's the best part of tutoring. Asking the CIS kids is to get a snack. So I wanted to let you know that is going strong. And I think we just started talking this week about adding another tutoring group within our special ed department and working with some kids in that area as well. So,
I think
questions?
recently, a couple weeks ago, we all received an email from one of your staff members regarding judging some bulletin boards. Yes, and that's to be
Yes.
this week or next week?
I think it's by next Friday.
Next Friday.
Yes, she said school board was all
I thought it
excited
was
about it.
this Friday,
She told
maybe.
us, is it this Friday?
So,
I
just
reckon
a
it's
reminder to
not.
the board, I responded to that email. I hope everybody saw it. Yeah, we're excited about getting the chance to do that.
I
So,
think she's gonna send us pictures, right?
gonna send us pictures.
So you don't
of your
necessarily
bulletin
have to
boards.
kind of be there all at once and be
Yeah, yeah. So I think that's exciting.
Carly Kemper is our
Yes.
committee chairman for our Sunshine Committee. And she's on top of that.
Okay.
Quick question about the tutoring. If you have a child that can't arrange for after-school tutoring, is there an option for doing it while they're there during the day, or how do we handle if a kid can't do like an after-school ride?
It might depend on what services they might be already be getting, and if they're not, we have Title I assistance throughout the day, so it's certainly something we could look at.
Just being aware
Figuring
of
out some
accommodating,
option,
you know.
yeah, we can maybe even talk about trying to help with transportation, if that's the issue.
Can any student participate in the tutoring, or do they have to be flagged by a teacher if they just want to work on their
Well-
math skills or?
What we've started with are the teachers identifying those kids that are in the most need of and would benefit from that to help bolster their performance. I think if any parent came in and said, hey, I'd like to have my kid get some help with, whether it's math or ELA, we would accommodate that. So, at this point, it was presented to the parents of those identified kids from the teachers, not necessarily an open invitation to everybody in the building that wants it. So we're getting ready, not getting ready, but before we know it, parent-teacher conferences will be here and be able to have some of these more individualized discussions about those needs that parents are interested in. And it's an ongoing, so every 6 weeks we're switching gears, so we can always adapt as needed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sorensen.
Good evening. I wanted to share a few celebrations tonight as well. First of all, we were able to bring back our preschool into the library. That's an awesome feature that we had going on pre-COVID. I had to shut that down, and we brought it back with gusto. I'm really excited to be able to get this book in the hands of our students every week. They get a set of 2 books that are sent home for them to be able to read with their families, and then we exchange them the following week and give them fresh books to take home, which is wonderful to support literacy at Parkview. My speech to text on there, better quit for space. I also wanted to share that we got our Parkview Pride character education lessons off and running. I know I shared that with you last spring about the trauma-informed initiative that we had going on, and like the next step was character ed. We do have a word of the month. This month's word was self-worth, and our students were focused on a weekly mini lesson every Monday morning. It was supposed to be about 10 minutes long, but the teachers came back and shared that the kids loved it so much. Having that circle time, which is a part of the restorative practices that we've been studying, that they ended up extending it a little longer than 10 minutes because the conversations were so good with the students. And I even had one of that has a student at Parkview share with me that their child had explained it to them at the table, and they said, you know, we're studying about self-worth, and you know what that means, Mom? And she said, no, tell me. And he said, it means that we're special. It's okay that, you know, I'm special, you're special, my little brother's special, everybody's special. So I think that's awesome, getting their self-confidence off the bat, you know, or at the beginning of the year, boosting that so that we can do the hard work and they feel good about where they're at in their own learning. And the last thing I wanted to share was that we did have our PDC specialists come in. Actually, they were there 2 days this week. The first day, they came in and observed teachers at Parkview and at CIS, and then the second day, they came and conferred with the teachers and gave some just some feedback and some strategies for increasing math fluency through the form of number talks. If you haven't ever heard of that before, it's basically you're teaching kids how to think and talk about numbers mentally. It's not through the written form, but how to actually think about it and be able to do math in your head, starting at a very small age. And I really appreciated that. It was a great experience, just how you can do number talks throughout the day, how it doesn't have to be just in math instruction, how it can be when you're lining the kids up. I mean, I could sit here and do it with you right now, just all the different ways that you can arrive at an answer. And it really teaches kids that there are multiple ways to solving math problems. And I really enjoyed that. I was also very appreciative to the ladies. They were very complimentary of our building, of the culture of our building, of the work that they saw in the classrooms. They went on and on about the strategies that the teachers were using, how the students were engaged in their learning, that they knew where the math resources were, and that they were just really impressed. And we have not had math PD in our building for 2 years through the COVID transition, and to be able to sustain that for 2 years really makes my heart happy and proud of my staff. So I just wanted to share that tonight. Any questions? No?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I have one more shout out, sorry. Shout out to that lady right there, Kayla, Riley, and Cedric, Mrs. Cedric, right? And Hadley. They helped if you were able to attend the staff tailgate, that was all done. So,
Thank you.
thank you, Dr. Robinson, Dr. Medford, for probably cutting the check. And thank you to them for organizing it.
It was a nice
So. Something different.
I want to do it again next year.
I've never seen a bounce house get rolled up. That was amazing. It was like, whoa, look at that. There's my offering.
I'm going to echo a few things. We did have, in my opinion, a great start to the school year. There's always hiccups at the beginning of the school year. Kids have been off on vacation for a little bit, but it's been a really good start. The CIS space, the locker room that's being transitioned over, Mr. Grassley is making good progress. We did have the washer and dryer delivered, so that's in there. I know he's gone right now, but he has made some good progress. It's looking good. I included at least a picture. I don't know if I put a video in the board report. There's pictures. Okay. I took a video too. But so it's looking good. And then Mr. Stickle took my glory here, but Mitch Colson, I put the video in your board report so you could watch that. It was really cool. The kids have talked about it, which that's big if you have middle school kids talking about an activity. And then we're talking about having positive conversations with parents. Mr. Sickle called Mitch Colson's mom and left her a voicemail. And so that's kind of a cool thing. Like, yes, we call parents and we have conversations, but as adults, I think the teachers appreciate that too. So there are people smiling ear to ear, so I do want to say that was kind of a cool thing. PD Day, I also put some pictures in there. Mr. Erdman had a great turnout. We had a lot of teachers and parents that came to the PD that Mr. Nelson and I put on about accommodations and why they were needed, and we placed the teachers and parents in as a student and had them feel what some of the students feel. I think it was pretty eye-opening.
Yeah.
Jason got a little frustrated with us, which is what we wanted, so it was good.
One of the highest scoring sessions, by the way.
Not that it's competition or anything. And then last but not least, just tonight, I got an email from our OTPT group, Therapy at School, about the progress that some of our kiddos have made. We have a couple that are now in standards and learning how to walk and really making a lot of progress just since the beginning of the school year. And we don't usually see that right off the bat. Kids a lot of times have to get back into the groove of things. And these kiddos have taken off. They're standing for almost 30 minutes, and one already propelled himself past the first milestone. So when we do that in the first couple of weeks of school, that's huge. So it's always nice when you get an email like that. So shout out to the teachers and therapists that are working with the kiddos. They've hit the ground running. Questions?
You said you had 15 new or special ed students transferring to the district. Was that higher than normal?
That's about normal. So that does not include the students that had gone to homeschool last year. Those are just new from other districts. So that's about typical. And it's actually gone up. We've had a couple more transfer in. We average anywhere between 15 and 25 kiddos every year that transition into our school. So we have a population that comes in and out quite often. So, yeah.
I appreciate the PD from a parent who had a child who had a 504 and had accommodations. My eyes were hugely opened one day when I sat down and tried to see the world the way she saw the world. So that is, yeah, so I appreciate you.
We had a lot of teachers come to Jason because we had some fun just because we know him and can pick a little bit, but I think it was very eye-opening for a lot of the teachers that you don't realize what these kids are dealing with day in and day out and what they're feeling when they're in a classroom and how they want to fit in. It'd be a typical kiddo, and it's really hard. It's hard for a regular developing child, so it was really good. It was fun.
When I realized my daughter, if there's a pencil in there, she sees two pencils. So if you're trying to read a word, we figure out which L you're going to read in that word. You know, we figured that out. But I always just assumed she read just like I did. So it's very eye-opening.
Brains are magical.
Yeah, they are. So thanks for doing that.
Questions, comments? Thank you, Mary. Okay, you have the maintenance report. Any questions, comments on the maintenance report? Technology report, questions, comments?
One question. We talked about maybe getting a third party to do an IT audit, or are we working on that?
We are, yes. Any other questions on the reports? Not then, we have time for input from citizens, teachers, or students. Mr. Gilbert has requested time with the board, and so normally we allow 3 minutes, but he's requested to be on the agenda special, so you have 5 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Heath Gilbert. In the past few weeks, I've been coming to the district office to try to learn about the drug testing policy. In the last few weeks, I have had my First Amendment right to peacefully assemble and to petition the district for a redress of a grievance against the random drug testing policy violated. Multiple times I was denied access to the custodian of records office. I have been discriminated against because of my disability. The district has repeatedly denied my request to unlock the only partially handicapped accessible door of the building. When I asked the first time to make the building accessible, I was told the district isn't required to make the building accessible because there are no disabled children in the school district. I pushed and was told, try knocking on the door that's locked next time you come to the building. Multiple times I've been forced to use the stairs outside the building to gain entrance to it that do not even have a handrail. This clearly fails to meet with the ADA standards and is a violation of federal law. On 2 occasions, the school district staff tried to prevent me from making sunshine law requests. One instance, my father was submitting the request for me, the other I made on my own. Both times we were told that we had to make an appointment with the superintendent or his assistant to submit a sunshine law request. On the third occasion, I was not able to submit my request at all. I was told that the school district staff had no more time to help me, that they needed to get back to the job of ensuring the children received an education. I could not submit a request on that day. Each time I was denied access to the custodian of records office, I was told it is their policy that I'm not able to just go up there. Every time I challenged them and insisted it was indeed my right to do so. The district staff and even a school board member told me the same thing, that district policy prohibits me from accessing the office of the custodian of records. I have in my possession a signed letter from Mr. Robinson when I made another Sunshine Law request to request a copy of that policy. That letter says that they cannot complete my request because that policy doesn't exist. You cannot enforce a policy against me that is not in writing and is not approved by this board. I did get copies of existing policy. For example, policy BDDL, release of information that was originally adopted in May of 2012. Item 1, the custodian of records is responsible for responding to requests for district records. Requests for records will be directed to the custodian. The board appoints the following person as a custodian of records. Central office staff, and it indicates the address of the building that we're standing in now. It turns out that I do indeed have the right to access the central office staff, and it is reasonable that I request to conduct my official and appropriate business with them directly. This policy makes it clear that not only should the district expect the public to enter the building to conduct business, but the public would need to access the office on the second floor. With that in mind, it is also clear that that policy I mentioned above makes it necessary for the building to be compliant with the American with Disability Act. A door which is only unlocked for a few hours, one day a month, when the school board is meeting, does not even come close to being compliant. That upstairs office should also be on the main floor so that it is accessible to people that need to conduct official business with the school district for the very people that your policy indicates that we need to see. Another policy, policy GBCD, staff conduct. It was adopted and last revised on October 2019. Conduct business with the appropriate designated person or department. This is policy specifically for the staff. Telling us, my father and I, that we had to make an appointment with the superintendent or his assistant to submit a Sunshine Law request and not allowing us to file those requests to the custodian of records seems to be a violation of this policy. I have been belittled because of my disability. I have been refused reasonable access to the building. I have been intimidated by the school resource officer on the part of the high school principal when I went in to try to get my email issues sorted out so I did not have to come into this building anymore. I was not permitted to file a Sunshine Law request. That's a violation of Missouri law. And had a non-existent policy forced on me. All of this while approved district policies are being ignored. I believe that much of this was done in retaliation to me refusing to allow my rights to be violated. It is also a violation of federal law. You cannot retaliate against me because I demand my rights. I ask this matter be taken seriously, that the district office comply with the ADA guidelines, and that the people responsible for this insanity be held responsible. Thank you.
Any other communications from citizens, teachers, or students? We have approval of resignations.
Motion to approve.
Seconded by Ann, seconded by Doug to approve the resignations presented. Any discussion? in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it, the motion carries. Approval of personnel to hire. You have a list of recommended personnel to hire.
So moved.
Moved by Pam and seconded by Doug. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it, the motion carries. We have a contract presented with us for the hospital athletic trainer.
Yes, we've had this for a couple of years now. We've had a trainer through the hospital. It's really a pretty good deal for us. The fact that we get somebody in there to look at our kids. Obviously, we've had a lot of activities. We have a lot of things going on. We do have kids get hurt. It's been a really good thing for us. And quite honestly, the cost is minimal compared to what we would pay if we actually purchased our own athletic trainer. It's probably 10% of the cost of what it would cost if we actually had our own trainer. So it's a nice service that the hospital offers us, and we do appreciate it, and I would recommend that we continue that relationship.
Motion to approve.
And
I have a question about
Yeah.
this. Are we working under extension of an old contract right now?
We are,
Okay.
yes.
Are the terms different than last time?
No, I think they're the same.
How many trainers do we get?
Get one guarantee. We have other times we have additional trainers there. So, like if we have a tournament, wrestling tournament, we've had two for, maybe a track meet. We've had two for maybe the softball tournament. We have one guarantee, but we have a lot of other ones that we have multiple trainers at, so.
There was one term in here that I read, and it looks like we release all liability regardless whether there's gross negligence or if there's no standard of care for them to provide the services. So I was just curious if we ever talked with them about
We have not.
standard of care, because they're providing medical services, and I just wonder if maybe if you're providing that on for students, maybe there should be a professional standard of care that we require them to comply with.
Okay.
I would just like to have that looked at before.
Okay.
any other comments?
Do I need to, I would agree with that, and so I.
I didn't hear a second to the
Make my
motion, so,
Okay.
don't have it on the floor.
Sorry, I jumped ahead.
Nope, that's fine.
Discussion for a minute.
Absolutely, that's fine. Okay, so what we will do is have that introduced.
Okay.
And then actually send that contract.
I'll call the hospital and.
Yeah, I mean, if we're operating
If-
under extension, maybe just
Yeah.
on the renewal, we can
Yeah.
operate
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, I think so. If we need to, we can have a special meeting one morning and approve that contract. So, I'll set that aside for right now and move to the next item, recommendation for substitute teachers.
Motion to hire.
Moved by Doug, seconded by Stacy. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it, the motion carries. Our return to learning plan. I understand we have to do something with this every 6 months?
We do, as required to get some of our federal funds, the ESSER money that's been out there, we have to continue to have a return to learning plan. Ours is pretty simple. It just talks about some of the highlights on what would happen. Obviously, COVID is still around. And so it just kind of talks about some of the precautions that we're continuing to take and that we would take, if it were to get worse, and some of those different things that we would do. But it is pretty simple at this point in time because we don't have there's not a lot of other things hanging over our head like there was in the past. We do have to continue to do it to get some of the federal funding that we have used. So,
I hope everyone looked it over. It looks pretty straightforward and manageable, so.
yeah, it's probably as simple as you can get it. Keep it satisfying the requirements. Simple.
Move to accept the return.
Question, Angie, can I ask Angie?
Yes.
I think a lot of the, when I was in Parkview as a sub, your teachers did an amazing job of, cleaning before breakfast, after breakfast, before lunch. I mean, are the teachers continuing to still do cleaning in the classroom, not as much, or?
Well, we're not eating in the classroom
That's
like
true.
we were. We do eat breakfast in the classroom, so the custodians clean at night, and then we clean up our mess afterwards. Kindergarten eats in the cafeteria, but first grade and second grade are eating in the classroom. We actually have so many students that eat breakfast that we can't fit them all in the cafeteria all at once during our serving time. So all of us eating in the cafeteria really wasn't an option any longer. And the first and second grade teachers liked it because the students could eat and they could go ahead and do morning work and start teaching. That way the kids aren't lingering in the cafeteria. They're there getting instruction and they're present. So, I mean, for the most part, we're doing everything, the same, except those changes.
I just thought they always did such a great job of disinfecting their classrooms throughout the day, which I think cut back on a lot.
I think just our environment, we have our kids touch a lot of surfaces and have little viruses and things going on all the time, but that's kind of the norm, just to keep us all healthy.
Is there a motion to approve the return to learning plan?
So moved.
Moved by Pam, seconded by Becky. There you go. Discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have, the motion carries. Mr. Gilbert, the board will ask Dr. Robinson to address your concerns as you expressed them this evening and get back with you.
Thank you.
Board member comments. Just quickly, I have a couple of things. My phone's about to die, so I have to read from this. I'm on the Region 1 MSBA committee, leadership committee. We have a meeting Monday. And we'll be considering several items. One of those has to do with any recommendations for revising the board recognition, the board governance board. There seems to be some folks who think that it's too rigid, and there's discussion about changing that. As a member of that
I
committee,
don't think it's too rigid. We've got it for 9 years straight. We've set the bar.
it's just my responsibility to check. I did send out a survey.
I don't know how many people, but I did see they're requiring at least every member to do 3 classes in MSBA. I don't remember how, I think it's just a quorum of the board and supervisors.
Yeah.
I didn't know what other changes they made to it. I think that's the only one I saw.
Yeah. And we're discussing some other
We just
changes.
started that and started doing those things so that we could set an example, lead by example for the rest of the district. You don't want to water down something.
No, I don't have. Yeah, I don't have any idea why there would be, but there were. The note we got was there was recommended changes from some districts who think they're restricted. It's rather restrictive.
Dan, I would say take back Cameron says we need to add another paper. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. We're all about
Those were
advancing.
grandfathered in.
That's right, we're about advancing the cost, yeah.
Let's see here. Revising board self-evaluations to meet MSIP 6 requirements is another one of the topics that we will be addressing. And I don't know. They'll tell us what they want us to know, I suppose. And then School Board Association Superintendent Evaluation. They're wanting to revise their recommendation for superintendent evaluations. So that's going to be on our agenda. And then hopefully you've gotten correspondence, emails from MSBA regarding the annual convention in Kansas City, the first part of November. Just today, in fact, I went online and was able to sign up for workshops that I wanted to do. And so if you haven't done that, look for that email from MSBA. I would encourage you to get those, to be able to sign up early, and then you're more likely to get into them because they do have some size limitations. And then Jackie, I believe you are our delegate now, and so you'll need to. And Kelly, you might get a bill for $50 because I registered for the President's Conference. Send it to Kelly. And then only one other thing I have. Normally on the first Monday of even-numbered months, we have a work session. I think we, with consensus, have decided that we won't meet in October, but rather we will meet the first Monday of November, which is November 7th, and that's the Monday right after our MSBA conference. So we should maybe be able to exchange some ideas and things we learned from that. And then we would not meet in the month of December, that even-numbered month, but get back on schedule then by coming back in February. Is that pretty much consensus? Okay. So our next work session will be the first Monday in November, November 7th, and probably at CIS. Yeah, right? We talked about that.
Yeah, we're just kind of trying to rotate around buildings, so yeah, we can get building tours and show kind of some of the stuff. By then, we do classroom lobby ready, we can show some of the life skills classroom.
Jackie, did you have a comment?
I had, just if I could, and I know you're going long, but I do want to just comment. We heard at a meeting last spring about some of the alarm with kids reporting depression and everything that I'm hearing in this meeting from the leaders in our building, and what happens is that we're replacing some of that with the word that kept coming to mind for me was empathy. Just seeing how the teacher, Mr. Colson, created a situation where empathy, and then having the teachers gain some empathy. I just could not be more excited to see that throughout our buildings, and I think that is a key to changing some of the trajectory that we were hearing about. So, yay. That's all.
I just have a great, I love seeing the hashtag Dragons Rise t-shirts around and all the messages that are attached to that. I feel like it's being a great piece of building some pride back in our district. And then I also love how active and loud PTSA is being. And I think that's new, and that they're having a spirit drive. I can't see Jason. This Friday, 4:30 to 6:30, Circle Drive, and they've got lots of like T-shirts and headbands and lots of fun things. So that's fun. About spirit. So.
All right. Anyone else?
Homecoming, somebody will organize us for homecoming?
Well, yeah, I think I put some stuff in Friday.
Yeah. You get a card. You get the card.
Yes. Get the car and we'll meet around the Memphis church, that area over there, like we normally talk about. Yes. Yeah, we'll have some stuff. Get ready to roll.
I'd just like to say thank you to you all for making your first month of school so great. I've heard nothing but good comments. The communication has been consistent and